build a wall between two men, brick by brick. It starts early and then becomes a pattern until the wall is made of sound, brick and mortar, and strong as any my father ever built. I don't know if my father remembered one such incident. It was the summer of 1952, and he got home from work a little later than usual. My mother said, "Hey, ain't tonight the night that Ben's team is playing for the championship?" I hadn't reminded my father of the game. I was afraid he might show up. 12 years old and ashamed of my old man. Ashamed of his dialect and his teeth, yellow like old ivory. And most of all, his lunch pail, the symbol of the working man. Now, I wanted a doctor for a father, a lawyer, or at least a fireman. Not a carpenter, no, that wasn't good enough. But I remember stepping up to bat, and I caught sight of my father. He was sitting on the bench near the third baseline. He was waving at me and gesturing to the man next to him. "That's my son." But I pretended not to see him. Instead, I just looked hard at the pitcher, and mad at myself, I swung hard at that first pitch. And there was a hollow crack, and the ball sailed low, but over the shortstop's head for a double. Next batter bunted, and I made third. So I'm just a few feet away from my father now, but I still refuse to acknowledge him. Instead, I just stare hard at the catcher. And the next pitch comes, goes through his legs, goes through the screen, so I slide home and I win the game. And then our teammates pounced on me. I was the hero. My father, he was jumping up and down. He was excited as hell, showing his teeth, yelling, "Ben! Ben!" And I looked at my father. And then I just looked away. So my team stampeded out of the schoolyard. I took one glance back through the wire fence and saw my father still sitting on the now empty bench, alone, slumped over, just staring between his shoes. When he got home that night, he didn't mention the game or being there. He just went to bed, usually early. So I never did get closer to my father, but I did learn to respect him as a man, not as an obstacle. But that wall was still there, dividing us, waiting to be toppled. And I never got to ask him the questions haunted me all my life. Ever since that summer night when he came down to the schoolyard to watch me play. How'd you like the game?
At 0800 hours, the Romulan Empire formally declared war against the Dominion. They've already struck 15 bases along the Cardassian border. Sir, that is a victory, a huge victory for the good guys. They've already started a party in the wardroom. Welcome to the fight. So, I lied. I cheated. I bribed men to cover the crimes of other men. I am an accessory to murder. But the damnedest thing, I would do it all again. If I had to do it all again, I would do it. Garrett was right about one thing. A guilty conscience is a small thing to pay for the safety of the entire Alpha Quadrant. So, I will live with it. Because I can live with it. I can live with it. Computer, erase the entire personal log. Computer, New Orleans, 1956, light jazz in the background.
That's nice. You know, Ben, you can change your surroundings, but you never get away from yourself, you know?
Adjust parameters. More hair.
I had a dog once, but he was bipolar.
shoulders. It was like I had two dogs.
Computer. Good job. Ben, if I may call me that.
You sure can, Ben.
It's been tough. I need a voice I can trust.
So you called yourself from back in time?
Back when I was hip and suave and white.
Well, you're a captain now, so things have gone uphill for you. But of course you're black, so things have gone downhill.
It's lonely out here. I miss family. I miss my father.
Won't lie, he's a bit of a dick. You remember that? Why would you miss that, huh?
He made good Creole. He compared everything about my growing up to Creole. He would speak Cajun and Creole and other C words.
He'd always playing that damn saxophone in the windowsill at night with that hat just jumbling. Look, you also made a good son. You've done well for yourself. You're a captain, for Christ's sakes. Look at this. We're in New Orleans, but we're actually in a room. You're in space. Think about that for 1 second. You are in space. Why'd you bring me here, Ben? Christ.
I want to leave the physical realm behind and join the prophets in the wormhole. See, if I were to say that to myself yesterday, that would sound normal. But I know you, my past self, would know how far stretched that is.
Really is. What the hell's a wormhole?
Me, a prophet. Me, one of the prophets. I am the emissary.
Remember that poster we had as a boy in the room? So every time we wake up, we just look at something that said, "You're gonna die." It kind of kept us honest. It kept us driven, right? And if your heart's telling you you want to be if you want a prophecy, and is it inside of a worm? Is this a dirty thing? Is it a giant worm with a hole in it? It doesn't matter, but if that's where you want to go, that's where I think you should go, and I trust you to be the future me.
My mother is there. Our mother. Do you remember her?
Vaguely, I remember she dropped me once, and then Tim.
Yeah. She dropped us a lot.
It wasn't her fault. She was constantly making pies. Buttery fingers, buttery fingers!
I feel like if I accept this, I am rejecting everything my father was. And that's not balanced. That's not who I am.
Fuck, that's tough. Look, you can't reject where you came from. Christ, it's in you. I mean, look in the mirror, you're turning more and more into Dad every day, aren't you? A goddamn bleak future for me.
I've taken up the saxophone. I thought you should know.
Like I said, you can change your environment, but you can't get away from yourself. You are who you is, and you always will be, and you are what you do. And if what you want to do is go into that wormhole and be with Mom, you go ahead and do it, and you'll drag everything in your past along with you. It's like herpes. You can't get rid of the past. It's baggage that follows you around forever. A weird dog you feed once, and you're stuck with him, and then he's bipolar, so it's two dogs!
I love Skippy Pal. No, I don't mind bringing my past with me, but they have no sense of time. I will be you, I'll be me, I'll be Dad. It's a grand adventure, more than I'll ever have here. My future is clear and not.
Kind of a cool place to be, right? You don't know what's going to happen next.
The unknown, it's the undiscovered country, not some planet where some man grows up to be with pointy ears. That's not the undiscovered country.
What?
it's old Federation lore, never mind. Computer, end program.